Presentation.
All right. Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to Geofencing, the secret to boosting your C-store sales. My name is Nick Patrick. I'm the co-founder and CEO at Radar. Radar is the leading geofencing platform. We work with C-store brands like Travel Centers of America, but also restaurant brands like Panera, retailers like Dick's Sporting Goods, and folks like T-Mobile and Zillow to power location use cases. And really honored to be joined today by Sean Marrero from Olo. I'll let Sean introduce himself.
Thanks, Nick. And thank you to Nax for having us on today. Managing Olo's ecosystem of over 300 technology providers, I get the opportunity to work closely with innovative partners like Radar, who are helping to lead that next wave of digital transformation. I look forward to sharing with you today how Olo and Radar are helping restaurants and C-stores use technology to provide personalized guest experiences while improving operational efficiency and driving additional revenue. Now back to Nick to tell you more about Radar.
Awesome. Thanks, Sean. Before we talk a little bit more about geofencing and kind of get into some discussion topics, I want to just give folks a bit of context on who are Radar and Olo, what do we do, how do we think about this space. We've been working with Olo for a while now. We announced a new partnership earlier this year where we're powering arrival detection in Olo's Expo dashboard. We'll talk a little bit about that, but just wanted to provide a bit of context before we dive into discussion. So Radar is location infrastructure for mobile and web apps. At a high level, if you're looking to add location features like geofencing to your app or website, we want to make that really easy. At Radar, we always say that location touches every part of the customer journey. So I think when a lot of folks think about geofencing, they think about things like pushing a coupon or an offer to a mobile device when you're near a store. That's certainly something that we can do. The topic of today's discussion is boosting your C-store sales. So obviously, reminders to go into the C-store or offers to go into the C-store are going to be compelling there, and that's a part of what location and geofencing can do. But I think there are other exciting location and geofencing applications as well for C-store specifically. Store locators, obviously all about location and finding nearby locations. Order ahead arrival detection. If somebody's placing an order for pickup, how do you understand when they're approaching or arriving? And so we'll talk a lot about geofencing applications, how these can lead to driving more C-store sales and foot traffic. But I think I just wanted to start with the bigger picture of what's possible with location as well. Today we're going to be focusing on boosting C-store sales. Typically, our customers come to us with some business objective in mind. That might be, driving app downloads or improving the app experience, giving folks a reason to download the app on premise. For things like order ahead arrival detection, decreasing wait times, delivering these really seamless pickup experiences to keep folks coming back. We'll talk a lot about that in addition to boosting C-store sales today. What is geofencing? I think a lot of the folks on this call are probably familiar with geofencing already, but broadly, it's basically understanding when a device is in a certain location, maybe in the background in a passive way. So your understanding is, as soon as somebody enters a geofence or when the app is opened, understanding if somebody is at home or at the pump or in the C-store. These are all things you can do with geofencing. And Radar's platform supports creating custom geofences. We really set ourselves apart on accuracy and privacy, but also we have a bunch of out-of-the-box place data as well. So drawing accurate polygons for your locations or understanding where your competitors' locations are can often be quite hard. So we provide a bunch of POI data out of the box. And for our integration with Olo specifically, that's really centered on understanding live ETAs and approaching signals, maybe geofence based, but actually potentially based on driving or walking distance. Understanding when somebody's 10 minutes away, 5 minutes away, and all of this falls under the scope of our geofencing platform. We also have a maps platform. So, think of this as like a cost-effective alternative to Google Maps or Mapbox. This is a big part of what we do as well. And, I think another thing that sets us apart is we think about ourselves as really the only all-in-one location platform. So we'll talk about geofencing use cases today, but think about location applications more broadly as well. And work with a lot of C-store brands. We also work with retail brands and restaurant brands and travel apps and logistics startups. And we'll try to touch on during the discussion today how we think about geofencing applications for C-store and fuel brands, but also inspiration from other verticals as well, and potential lessons or inspiration there. Before I turn it over to Sean, just want to talk about kind of broadly how you might integrate a geofencing tool like Radar and how it can work with a tool like Olo. So we have SDKs that make it really easy to add location tracking and geofencing. You can add those to your mobile apps with just a few lines of code. We'll help you collect location data in an accurate, privacy efficient way, or accurate, battery efficient, privacy conscious way. Then understand if somebody is entering a geofence, again, maybe corresponding to one of your C-stores, one of your locations, fuel pumps. Also detecting if somebody visits a place, maybe it's one of your competitors or arrival signals. All of these can trigger things like geofence entry events or place visit events or trip arrival events that can be sent to other systems like Olo. And before I turn it over to Sean, just to sort of bring this to life, wanted to show a quick demo video of what geofencing and location arrival signals can look like inside of the Olo dashboard. So this is Olo's Expo dashboard. So basically a dashboard where restaurant staff can understand orders that are in progress. You'll see a sort of flashing curbside approaching signal here. So Radar's location signals can be fed into Olo Expo and basically help restaurant staff or C-store staff understand when somebody is 10 minutes away, 5 minutes away, approaching, arriving, so that the order can be prepped or handed off at just the right time. So with that, I'll turn it over to Sean to talk a little bit about Olo and how they think about geofencing. And then from there, we'll move into some discussion. So Sean, I'll turn it over to you.
Awesome. Thanks, Nick. So when we're talking about customizing your perfect tech stack, we mean leveraging the right blend of Olo products and partner integrations to build solutions that help both your front and back of house staff operate as productively and profitably as possible. All of this while actually increasing hospitality, giving them more time to connect with your guests. The Olo platform supports approximately 76,000 restaurants and C-stores. This is across more than 600 brands, and we connect them to more than 300 technology partners with more than 85 million guests who transact on our platform on average with more than 2 million orders per day. So we're going to help you achieve your digital ambitions. We believe technology is instrumental to enabling C-stores to do more with less and make every guest feel like a regular, right? The problems faced by C-stores are not new, but some are very unique to your industry. We leverage our experience in leading the way for the digital transformation of restaurants to help turn your problems into opportunities. We help you capture guests' attention in this complex and competitive landscape by funneling them into your direct ordering channels. This will in turn help you capture every guest engagement, increase your profitability, and ultimately eliminate a disjointed tech stack through our proven enterprise-grade open platform. So before we transition to talk about how Olo's helps C-stores drive sales, it's helpful to understand our full solution ecosystem. Since 2005, we've evolved from a novel point solution to a complementary suite of products primarily focused on fulfillment of digital orders, to a full-fledged end-to-end platform that spans the entire customer journey. We expanded into convenience stores in the first quarter of 2022, recognizing significant opportunity through integrations with partners like Radar, as well as our proprietary solutions, such as the Olo ordering module. Today, we're an end-to-end technology platform that really encompasses all of those guest touch points, from on-premise to off-premise, from ordering and payments and delivery to restaurant management and guest engagement tools. Olo is a stable, flexible platform, right? But for me, in partnerships, selfishly, I just in love with the best of breed partner network, right? This makes it so that with us, you don't have to disrupt what's working or what you've already built. Our platform is complemented and enhanced by the deepest network of best-in-breed solutions. Our clients often have existing solutions in place, as I'm sure you do, or for several aspects of sort of a digital strategy. Some of these may be homegrown and other third-party. Our open API architecture is going to allow you to slot those into the Olo network without disrupting your daily operations. I mean, we know there's a lot riding on these investments that you make into your business, which is why we provide a public-facing system status page to provide real-time updates for each component of your tech stack. And we partnered with Radar to improve the digital order fulfillment process, right? And the off-premise experience for our brands and your guests. Through the integration we have, brands gain accurate and efficient trip tracking capabilities that are going to minimize wait times, maximize operations for the folks who are prepping that food and those who are handing it off, really to all ensure that the guest gets their food as fresh as possible. You have to remember that demand for order ahead and curbside pickup is here to stay. And brands that leverage technology like this are really going to be able to maximize output and optimize the guest experience. And when you do that, you will stand out from the competition. Today, we partner with 65% of restaurants in the industry and are making waves into the C-store space. You'll see just a few of the brands we support within your industry, but there are more clients not listed and more exciting partnerships on the way. We're also really proud of our 97% retention rate. Brands choose Olo because we've sort of set the standard when it comes to digital ordering, but they stick with us because they trust that the innovations we drive in our platform and through our partners are going to continue to deliver incremental value. You might still be kind of asking yourself, though, what does all of this mean for your business? Well, here are the results, and they speak for themselves. One of Quick Trip's biggest challenges prior to Olo was managing orders from delivery service providers across multiple tablets and manually entering in each third-party transaction at the register. This process is difficult to train on, confusing for employees, and it left a lot of room for error. And I'm sure some of you, that may sound familiar. So to help solve those pain points, Quick Trip first implemented our Rails product. Shortly thereafter, the brand launched ordering for carryout and curbside, and recently launched dispatch. Rails has enabled Quick Trip to add more marketplace partners and manage all of their orders from a single dashboard, eliminating the need for several tablets, training staffs on multiple systems, and manually entering each one of those transactions at the register. This means employees now have more time to focus on guests and other responsibilities. Additionally, order accuracy has improved, and the brand no longer has to worry about transactions being entered incorrectly or lost altogether. With Olo's ordering, customers can now order ahead for carryout or curbside pickup right from their Quick Trip Rewards app. By enabling people to order direct, Quick Trip now owns its relationships with its customers, and it can analyze behavior, solicit feedback, and market more efficiently. Additionally, the brand has seen an increase in the number of customers ordering large prepared meals like pizza and fried chicken instead of the traditional grab-and-go items like sandwiches or hamburgers. Then to further incentivize guests to order direct and expand its reach, Quick Trip recently launched Dispatch. By integrating our network of delivery couriers into their online orders, Dispatch has allowed Quick Trip to offer convenient branded delivery without the hassle of managing their own drivers or contracts with multiple delivery service providers. Now back over to you, Nick.
Awesome. Thanks, Sean. It's been really exciting to see the evolution of Olo's product and business over the last couple of years. And, we've seen an explosion of investment in digital and tech in the C-store space. And it's been awesome to see you all start playing more there. So cool. For the next portion of the webinar, we're going to move to discussion. And I had a couple discussion topics relating to boosting C-store sales with geofencing. I'm going to ask questions to Sean to get Olo's perspective, and then he'll kick it back to me to share the Radar perspective. We've got about 4 meaty topics or so, and then if we have time at the end, we'll take questions from the audience. So. Sean, just to sort of kick it off, would love to hear what trends you and Olo are seeing in the C-store vertical today, especially those that relate to geofencing and location. You historically have done a lot of work with the QSR vertical, so also sort of interested to hear the compare and contrast between C-store and QSR. And obviously customer examples are always great as well. So yeah, Sean, we'll start there.
Yeah, well, I think for this specifically, it's regardless of any industry, right? Guests are going to seek quality and convenience. But there's certainly a lot of differences between how restaurants have tackled this in the past and how C-stores need to tackle it going forward. Right, as off-premise grows for every business, the complexities associated with it are also going to grow. I think what we know for a fact is that a lot of restaurants, they're restaurants, they serve food for a living. They have the infrastructure built out to support things like curbside. They've done a lot more handoff with things like delivery drivers and things like that in the past. Um, your Technic geofencing location is really helps the C stores efficiently manage the preparation of this food, right? And then that front of store interactions, providing accurate ready times and fresh food for guests, doesn't necessarily have to be something that the people inside the store worry about, right? I mean, these are a lot of, like we've said, this is a new flow in a lot of ways. And I think that's what we're seeing in C store. And so what I kind of suggest in this instance is that instead of a lot of folks who are saying, okay, I'm at the beginning of my digital journey, and I just want to do the basics, right? I just need to get some orders in from some marketplaces. I need to get some orders from my website. How we facilitate the handoff, I'll figure that out later. But if you really start to approach those problems up front, then you don't have to worry about all the training that goes into it, building those new reflexes, right? I mean, that's what we want to be, is just efficient. Let the people in the store handle everything just as if it were placed at the counter, right? I mean, that's really what people should be focused on to make that cohesive journey. Like we said, restaurants have been doing this for a long time, and they really do see the benefits of maximizing this operational efficiency. We work together with CKE, right? That's the parent company for Carl's Jr. and Hardee's. They leverage this combined solution to create that frictionless guest experience. And it's really also keeping up with heavy demand. I mean, this is a big brand who does a tremendous amount of volume. And being able to, distinguish between different channels and who's coming in which car to pick up what, or who just pulled into the drive-through. I think, I always think of drive-throughs for restaurants. Always used to have that bell that dinged. Well, this is quite a bit more advanced for that. So we love working with folks who've been doing this for a really long time and are just starting to solve for these problems. But again, I'm kind of thinking for C-Store, it's about approaching these up front and really setting yourself up for success long term. How does that compare to what Radar's seeing, Nick?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, Sean. I think we think about this in the context of trends that we're seeing in particular industries, but also kind of try to zoom out and think about this in the context of broader mobile ecosystem as well. And I think we're in a world where consumers have a ton of choice these days. And I think the average consumer now has over 100 apps installed on their smartphone. We have a ton of choices for where to eat, where to shop. And I think consumers also have really high expectations. They want to be able to order ahead. They want to have a seamless pickup experience. They expect the apps that they use to be well designed and convenient and sort of understand where they are. So we think about investments in geofencing as helping helping your brand, helping your app deliver really seamless, personalized, convenient experiences for customers, ones that sort of set yourself apart and break through the noise. I think for the first decade of mobile, it was kind of enough just to have an app, and maybe the app had a store locator and some basic payments and loyalty features. Now it's kind of not enough. You really need to give folks a reason to download your app, to put it on their home screen, to come back to it again and again. And obviously, share of attention on mobile, but also share of wallet. You want to think about more ways that you can be useful and top of mind for consumers. So, lots of choices for places to grab a bite, on your commute home from work. How do you offer order ahead type functionality that maybe is on par with, some of the fast food brands that you interact with. So, I think that's sort of broadly how we think about it. We've seen an explosion of investment here in the C-store space specifically. I felt like there was a huge rush to invest in mobile and digital transformation and order ahead experiences during COVID, and a lot of retailers and restaurant brands kind of set the pace there. I think folks in the C-store space are starting to catch up and make investments, and I think what you all are seeing matches really well to what we're seeing as well. I think the other thing is folks just sort of starting to expand their thinking about what geofencing can do. Yeah, I think again the classic geofencing use case that a lot of people think about is, I'm within a mile of a store, send me a coupon. And again, that's certainly something that you can do with geofencing. That can be that can give folks a reason to stop by. Yeah. But how can you get more accurate, right? How can you understand when somebody's at the pump specifically and trigger that notification as soon as they pull up to the pump? How can you deliver these types of seamless pickup experiences based on location that are going to keep folks coming back? How can your app experience understand if somebody's at the pump or at the C-store, and maybe you're showing different features, depending on, your precise location. So I think all of these things fall under the scope of what geofencing can do, and just a lot of excitement and investment and sort of a reimagination of what's possible with geofencing. Cool. We talked a bit about personalization and loyalty. I guess just to shift gears a little bit, Sean, you showed the evolution of Olo's product over time, and beyond solutions for ordering, you all have solutions for personalization and marketing and feedback management. And kind of curious how C-Store should be thinking about personalization and loyalty from Olo's perspective.
Yeah, definitely. It does all start and sort of originated from having a really engaging app experience. A lot of what you guys do and differentiation there, helping, really target the guests. And that's really that next phase of helping increase the lifetime value of those customers for you. It's an incredibly competitive place, especially for a lot of C-stores. The locations you're at, you may have competitors next to you, across from you, right? And every which way you look. How do you get them to not only come to you the first time, but to keep coming back, right? And so I have to start to think about the future of service as guest-centric, right? If you can personalize offers and communications to each guest across each channel, right? In-store, online, at the pump, through solutions such as, our Engage suite, right? We're really helping our brands leverage this mountain of data that we sit on to gain these significant competitive edges, right? Or advantages, probably over their next door neighbor, right? It's the right technology can really capture every piece of this guest data, right? The feedback that they have at every one of their touch points, helping you build accurate profiles. And these are really going to be what are indicative of the habits and preferences that you can then use to inform your high-level marketing and business decisions, right? Knowing what people are buying, what they're liking, what you can upsell them into, right? What campaigns and targeting has worked previously is most effective, right? Those are the things that you need to be doing. But in order to do that, you have to leverage the data, right? The data is your key to that personalization, right? To that marketing strategy and plan. But that's also, these are tools that can sometimes seem out of reach, right? Really like getting into these mountains of data, these personas, creating lookalike audiences, doing all of that. So we're really focused on trying to take, what I would say is like the guesswork out of it, to take all of this data, present it, segment it, and really make it actionable, right? Because just like restaurants, other guest-facing industries such as C-stores must consider guest data and personalization at like the forefront of any of your marketing, but also your loyalty strategies. And in most instances, you need to have both. Creating a really, really loyal customer base who's always logging into your app is certainly going to be able to create for those awesome experiences of driving them from the pump and into the store. Loyalty is typically a smaller subset of your customer base, right? And it's certainly not customers who've never heard of you before, right? So then taking what you know about your most loyal customers and transcending that into your marketing is really going to help you, grow your business and get new people in the door as well. Nick, I'm interested, how does geofencing and location really relate to personalization and loyalty?
Yeah, I think when we think about personalization, a big part of what we think about from a location perspective is just sort of right place, right time. So, you want to, show the right content or make the right recommendations. That's obviously a function of who you are and your preferences and your past ordering history and what we think you might like. But it's also a function of where you are. Are you at home? Are you filling up at the pump? Are you at a competitor's location? Or are you inside the C-store? Are you out shopping? Are you at work? Right? And so using location as a signal to say, well, if I'm at home, maybe you want to show me order ahead functionality or a store locator. Whereas if I'm on premise, maybe you want you want to show me pay at the pump or loyalty features in the app, right? And I think whether it's recommendations for what to order or right place, right time content or messaging, I think all of that sort of comes together to deliver these really personalized, frictionless experiences. I think all of that is ultimately an input to loyalty. I think loyalty at the end of the day is give me a great experience and give me a reason to come back. And there are a lot of different components to that. But I think if you can, make the app experience really frictionless, make the order ahead experience really frictionless, give me a reason to download the app and put it on my home screen and keep me top of mind. Ultimately, that's what's going to drive loyalty. I think, the challenge here, and maybe this is a good segue into the next topic, is lots of different tools, lots of different data sets. It can be challenging to sort of join them together and make sense of location data with behavioral app data and past ordering data and all of this stuff. And just in general, lots of different data sets. Think about technology, deployed in C-stores or restaurants or retailers, point of sale systems, CRM systems, lots of different technology tools, different parts of your app stack, your tech stack, your backend. So, Sean, you showed that great slide of Olo's partner ecosystem, but kind of curious in general how you all make sense of this ecosystem, how Olo thinks about the best ways for these tools to talk to each other, and maybe some practical advice if you want to roll out geofencing or personalization or just how to make all of these tools and data sets work together in Olo's philosophy there.
There's certainly a lot of options and only increasing, right? I think as for C-stores, as digital becomes more prevalent, there's only going to be more digital solutions to consider. Some of those are siloed, right? There's much different technology needs within convenience stores than there are in other verticals. Paying for your car wash, for instance, right? What that looks like to get it from the pump or from the app or from inside the store to where you go to punch that code in, right? I mean, just making that connection is three or four different systems working well together. That's a very unique flow and unique technology set that exists in C-stores that doesn't exist other places. But there's still a lot of infrastructure that is consistent across a lot of these industries, right? Your POS being sort of the central hub of orders coming in and really being one of the main screens and interfaces for your in-store employees to work with. I think one of the things I really enjoy is that our job here at Olo is to help all of those multiple systems come together to create a seamless experience, right? That's what's going to really start to simplify things, but it's certainly not easy. I also try to find experts, right? I mean, I think, relying on your own, leveraging the insights of what other industries have gone through. Before I worked in restaurant technology, I started an online travel agency. And it was very, very interesting to take that and sort of the knowledge of something I built in college and then get into my career and say, wow, restaurants are going through a similar transformation, right? I really, really like working with convenience stores, grocery places, new verticals that are just starting to get into the beginning stages of this transformation. It's not the first inning, certainly. A lot of tech that I use actually around convenience stores rivals what I do in my app experience inside of a restaurant. But connecting that off-prem becomes another piece of complexity where there's a lot more systems to manage, right? All of the different marketplaces where your orders could be originating from. So what you have to try and do is just, as you're increasing the number of systems, decrease the number of things your employees need to look at, right? Really help them treat every order as if it were placed at the counter. And for us, that's how we look at our ecosystem, right? And that's why we're committed to being an open platform. The more solutions that we can bring in and service partners, the better we can help streamline this process. really sort of double down on this strategy, and something I've been very excited about has been Olo Connect, which we just recently launched. And we're incredibly proud to have Radar as a Gold Connect partner within our program. But what that means is we are also trying to help, brands understand who are the best of breed. And some are best of breed for different reasons, right? And really it comes down to problem and solution sets of what are you specifically looking to accomplish or create in your guest experience, and how can we help you find the right partner for that, right? Because this is all about helping, you find the right partners to execute on your goals. And if it's on top of that, sort of the right flexible platform, that will help it all come together seamlessly. But I always say, lean on the experts, lean on folks who've set these trends in other industries, lean on folks who've done multiple integrations, right? Anybody who tells you, oh, well, this is our first time working with, say, this POS. Okay, just understand it. It's probably going to be a longer deployment process. There's going to be some very specific things. I can't speak enough for experience, but I also like innovation. And so if you can pair all of these different solutions on top of the right platform, it really helps to mitigate the risks of, just like having a disjointed tech stack altogether.
Yeah.
How are you thinking about that on the Radar side?
Yeah, I think very similarly. Partnerships and integrations has been central to what we do at Radar really since the very beginning. I think, Sean, I saw the mParticle logo on your partner slide. My co-founder, Kobe, used to work at mParticle. And around the time that we started the company back in 2016, which I think is, if I'm remembering the timeline correctly, Sean, about when Olo started to branch out and add multiple products, we just saw this explosion of investment in digital and new tools. I think having tools that are sort of modern, developer-friendly, connected, event-based, you can push and pull stuff really easily. In real time, so much of what we've talked about, you sort of take it for granted, but triggering that, location-based notification at just the right time, having really accurate arrival signals, so you know exactly when somebody is, walking into the store or pulling into the parking lot. These are all things that are really, really important. So our priority has been, as we've developed our product, is to sort of make it very easy to push and pull data to systems. Really sort of easily integrate them, join data sets together. And I think that can take a lot of forms, and we have a bunch of different types of integration partners. Obviously we've talked, in this session about our integration with Olo, but oftentimes we see C-store brands and retail brands investing in not just an ordering platform, but a location platform that can do geofencing and other things, a CDP like an mParticle or a Segment, behavioral analytics platform as they invest in their apps. So like an Amplitude or a Mixpanel, all sorts of other things as well, push platforms like Braze or Airship. And so I think just generally thinking about like choosing tools and, working with systems and choosing partners that work really well together. One interesting trend that we've seen this year is sort of a move towards vendor consolidation and cost cutting. I almost feel like there was a explosion of investment, a ton of new tools and systems that emerged on the scene. And now folks are starting to sort of consolidate a little bit, not to sort of speak for Olo, but I think to see you all go multi-product and multi-vertical. Sometimes it's easy to have lots of different point solutions that talk well together. Sometimes it's easy to have, multiple different use cases under one roof. That's part of what has driven our product evolution over time. So starting as a geofencing platform, adding out of the box POI data, then launching a maps platform. And so I think we're starting to see more of a rebundling. That can be a bit awkward because I think there can be overlap between different tools and systems. So sort of expanding out to find, what is sort of cohesive, but also flexible and efficient in 2023.
Well, flexibility, right? I mean, most of what you listed off there in terms of services and all of those partners, they're all things that we do in-house, but those are also all partners of ours, right? Because there is no one size fits all model here. There's no every solution is the best choice. A fully consolidated end-to-end solution where everything's sort of in this closed loop leaves a lot of room for opportunity, but more specifically, it leaves out the ability to tailor this stack to your specific needs, right? They're always going to be unique. And I'm not going to say that convenience stores should implement every restaurant technology solution, right? There are a lot that are very specific to convenience stores. And so having that modularization, right? The ability to plug and play. I mean, you guys work so well with so many different app developing platforms. Brands are going to want to be able to choose the look, the feel, the customization, the different experiences in there. So your ability to plug and play into any one of those means that you can grow with the brand as their needs grow, right? And that's what we're always trying to be focused on too. Give folks room to grow, and that will certainly help you also be able to pivot, right? Because there is going to be a lot of complexity. Sometimes a few of these systems may not work together, or to your point, there's a lot of overlap. So maybe you're kind of, you're doubling up there where you don't necessarily need to. The ability to, add these and remove them flexibly and scalably is going to be really important to maintaining sort of a cohesive experience, for your in-store operators and your guests alike.
Awesome. Friendly reminder for folks, we have a Q&A portion coming up, and we've got one more discussion topic left. So feel free to go to the Q&A tab and start submitting questions now. I guess just to bring us home with the planned discussion topics, Sean, what are some signs that a C-store brand should be making investments here, whether it's investments in mobile ordering, investments in geofencing, all the use cases and tools we discussed? Like, how do I know if it's the right time to invest, and how should I be thinking about that?
Yeah, definitely. Well, it's inevitable, right? I mean, digital is going to change the way you work with your guests. It's going to change the way that you train your staff, but it's also going to be able to change your revenue opportunities, right? I think a good example for us in this is Family Express, right? We partnered with Family Express in 2019 to grow their online ordering program. We empowered it with like a seamless order management, but also that actionable guest data, right? This drives the one-to-one marketing, right? Something that is, sometimes been nascent or only for, those very, very loyal members, right? Or maybe even those who hold like a corporate spending account card with them, right? But once you can expand that to every single guest who comes in, right? Turn your location into a sales funnel, into a lead funnel, capturing that guest data. Now you can leverage that in your marketing and your targeting, right? So working with Family Express, ever since we came in there, they've seen 164% increase in digital revenue, 103% increase in orders, and a 45% increase in average basket size, right? So almost doubling the size of how much people are ordering from you. A very consistent digital experience that maximizes for conversion, that maximizes for increasing check size. All of those are very proven revenue strategies. And in today's market, I really think that C-stores need to be looking for ways to diversify and looking for ways to increase the lifetime value of their customers to keep them coming back.
Makes a lot of sense. Yeah, maybe just sort of build on that and kind of connect it back to the topic of today's discussion, geofencing to drive C-store sales. When we talk to folks in the C-store space, we always ask the question, do you have a reliable, efficient way to drive folks into the store? Does your app understand where the user is and give you the ability to show right place, right time features or engage them when they pull up to the pump? And if the answer is no, I think you're probably leaving something on the table in terms of your ability to message folks and prompt them to go in store, in terms of just kind of seamless, frictionless experiences you could be delivering, whether it's showing the right set of features or messaging when you're on premise versus at home. And so I think some of the things you talked about, Sean, wait times, just sort of seamless personalization. Think about app engagement. Are you able to give folks a reason to download the app, drive app downloads? Are you able to reach them when they're on site? And are you seeing app opens and app engagement on premise? So I think these are all things that we're we're thinking about, sort of connecting it back to the previous discussion topic. This is sort of the year of efficiency as well. And so to the extent that you have, ordering functionality, are you able to service those orders efficiently? Are your systems enabling your staff in the C-store to work better, faster, and sort of deliver better experiences? Or is it just another screen and sort of overwhelming to them? And, from a cost perspective, we talked a bit about vendor consolidation. We find that a lot of C-store and restaurant partners of ours have a store locator, but they aren't really doing things with location or geofencing beyond that. And I think another sign is, do you feel strapped for budget? You want to invest in digital transformation and location features, but you can't. And a big part of what we've been doing recently is, I mentioned our Maps platform, sort of a cost-effective alternative to Google Maps. Basically, like, make a geofencing purchase budget neutral, save a ton of money on your store locator, and that can fund an investment in, in that new tool like Radar's geofencing platform. Awesome. So that concludes the planned discussion portion. We'll turn it over to folks for Q&A. Just a quick plug here. Radar's throwing our big annual conference, Radar IRL, in September. We're lucky to have Olo as a sponsor. And if you're curious about these topics or curious about applications for geofencing in other industries or some of the new product features we're working on, would love for you to attend. Space is limited, so feel free to visit us at radar.com/IRL and register, and we'd love to see you there. Let's turn it over to the audience for Q&A. So seeing a couple questions and also have a couple questions to kick us off here. I'd be curious, Sean, as we look to the future, like, what's on Olo's roadmap? How are you thinking about the next 5 or 10 years? And obviously your product has evolved a bunch. I'm sort of curious where Olo's going next.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, first and foremost, continue to cultivate our integration, right? Make this an even more engaging experience, improving that, the off-premise guest experience, but also the on-prem. We've gone through a lot of very cool things that we do together to service both, the customers outside your store, inside your store, your own employees, right? Making that operational better. So that's a lot of what we continue to invest in, is looking at, sort of that dual cohort of who's benefiting the most here. And it's not just your bottom line and what's coming in from your guests, but also how well your employees are able to service them. So we're always keeping a keen eye on the balance of servicing both of those sort of stakeholders within this, right? Main core focus is always going to be on helping drive sales. But we are significantly focused on that for C-Store today to really help you do more with less, right? Enhance this hospitality, give you those things that are going to be these key differentiators in their experience in going to you versus your competitor. And that's what will really keep them coming back, right? I mean, this is what helps, growth of enterprise and emerging brands really realize their digital potential, is differentiating that guest experience. A big investments in our platform around understanding who that guest is and their behaviors, and then from here helping you transcend that into actionable strategies to acquire more customers.
Cool, makes sense. I think Radar is thinking about a number of different things. For us, I mentioned our Maps platform, continuing to invest in there and build out a full suite of geocoding and routing and search APIs, and also maps for store locators, but also other types of use cases as well. One thing that we've seen a lot of interest in recently is location verification and fraud detection. The common use case there is mobile gambling. So mobile gambling is only legal in certain states, and how can you check which state the user's in, but also verify that they're not spoofing their location. We've seen some really cool applications in a retail and C-store context there as well. So to the extent that you want to offer, pay at the pump features or, on-premise only coupons, how can you make sure that folks aren't gaming the system to, claim a sweet deal or, activate a pump if they're not actually on premise. And so that's exciting for us as well. I think the last thing is, we've historically been very smartphone centric in our product offering. I don't know if folks on the call watched the Apple keynote a few weeks ago where they announced Vision OS, but I think in contrast to some of the investments that Meta has been making here, which are more sort of virtual reality centric, this is a very augmented reality centric thing. And, I think it's going to be a few years away before these things are, slim enough and battery efficient enough to wear outside of the house. But fundamentally, augmented reality is all about, location context and overlaying context over the physical world, and kind of thinking about how Radar's technology might extend to new platforms as well.
Yeah, if anybody wants to see sort of, our Olo's vision of what the future will really look like from a guest experience, go to our website and check out, the future of the restaurant and sort of what that experience does. And it's all about personalization, connecting with that guest and making this all a very seamless and almost thoughtless experience to deliver that next phase to your guests. It's exciting stuff. I'm excited for the next 5 to 10 years.
Good stuff. Let's see, seeing a few questions rolling in here. So Kalpesh asks, user engagement example that I've seen is the Sam's Club app, where if I enter Sam's Club, the app automatically shows my membership card. Obviously available if you've installed the Sam's Club app. And so how to think about, geofencing, do I need to install an app first? Can Radar work without installing an app? And then I saw a related question from Tomas about, geofencing and location-based advertising. So great questions. Radar is an SDK primarily that you install in your app. So really all of the use cases that we've talked about involve Radar's technology sitting in an app, collecting location data, detecting geofence entries, and then maybe changing the app experience or triggering a push notification. So we don't do anything with third-party data or sort of location-based advertising outside of the app. We've certainly had folks work with other partners for that potentially talk to Radar in some way. Oftentimes we'll encourage folks to, promote use of your app on premise with some signage and say, here's all these amazing location-based features in the app. You should download it. But at least as it stands right now, Radar has to be installed in an app. Oftentimes that's sort of like an owned and operated app. It's developed in-house. We also have integrations with a number of different white label apps as well. But yeah, Sean, sort of curious to hear how Olo thinks about that. I know you all have some developer tools, but also a wide variety of apps and dashboards available out of the box. So just kind of curious to get your perspective on that as well.
Yeah, definitely. It's always interesting. Folks think, if I have to download the app, right? But think of once you've captured their attention and you drive them into the app and they have their, stored card on file, or they're ordering from off premise and all their delivery details are there, right? That's sort of like one-click checkout. I mean, why do folks continue to go back to, marketplaces like DoorDash, et cetera? It's that ease of use, it's that ease of checkout. And then for the marketplaces, that's that great hook to keep them coming back. So I never want to tell, businesses to shy away from a focused strategy on driving people to download your app. Features such as this and everything that they'll be able to do it, knowing they're going to have this really efficient handoff. They're going to pull in, grab their food, they're going to go. For you, there's the other side of it and being able to target to them. But you need to have that deliberate strategy to download app, get the people to download the app, whether it's signage, right? Whether it's the screens at the pump that have QR codes to download, or leveraging your existing digital properties, right? Have your website up there and say, download our app now to get, your next drink for free. Utilize those incentives, get that top of funnel to have a narrow focus of driving them into your app. And with features like Radar, you're going to keep them coming back. And when that app's on their phone, they're not going to stop anywhere else.
That's great. Let's see what else we got here. Lots of different geofencing and location platforms out there. How is Radar different? I think I would highlight a few things. We always tell our customers that, we want to set ourselves apart on a couple different dimensions. One is accuracy. So a lot of the use cases that we talked about, if you really want to understand if somebody's at the pump versus in the C-store, you need a high level of accuracy. And a big part of what we do is help you go beyond the accuracy that's possible with out-of-the-box iOS and Android location services. So I think that's one thing that sets us apart. The second thing is privacy. Location data is obviously quite sensitive, and really we were talking about personalization earlier. Understanding somebody's location, current location or location history, understanding some of their preferences, that data can be quite sensitive. And so we have all sorts of advanced privacy and security features, data minimization, data access controls, and sort of have aimed to set a new standard over the last couple of years in terms of location data privacy. And then finally, developer experience. We have open source SDKs. I think flexible integrations with tools like Olo and Segment and Amplitude are a big part of that as well. I think other things, sort of practically speaking, a lot of geofencing platforms out there just do geofencing. They don't have the maps platform side of the house. So you might be using a different tool for your store locator than for some of your geofencing or arrival detection functionality. We try to do all of that under one roof. And, I think one thing that hopefully has been interesting or useful on this session today is we work with a lot of different industries. Sean talked about Olo's perspective on, restaurants, various types of restaurants and C-store. We work with restaurants and C-stores and also Zillow and T-Mobile. And I think there's lots of inspiration if you sort of look further afield, gaming apps, travel apps, real estate apps. So a big part of how we approach developing our product is to not just be a geofencing platform, but to be an all-in-one location platform, and to be a location platform for every product and service. And I think there can be a lot of cool cross-pollination of ideas and inspiration, particularly in the C-store vertical, where I think there's an explosion of investment right now, maybe some catch-up to be done in certain places. And so I think that's another thing that sets us apart. Seeing another question that just came in. Can Radar include its location SDK in another app in Costa Rica? And have a bank looking for a location collection SDK? It's a great question. Radar does work globally. Our SDK can collect location data anywhere. We make it possible to set up custom geofences anywhere. For some of the out of the box data sets that we provide, we have different levels of coverage for out of the box POI data or our geocoding APIs, for example, but certainly. And I think for anybody who's looking to, get in contact with us or, curious about a partnership or, know somebody that might be interested in a tool like this, feel free to reach out. I don't know if I should give out my personal email, but ping me at nick@radar.com or you can go to radar.com/contact and shoot us a note there. Sean, you mentioned, just kind of looking at the clock, we've got about 5 minutes left, so maybe we can do one more question. You mentioned delivery, and I think you mentioned DoorDash. Just sort of curious how Olo views marketplaces like DoorDash and, thinking about driving guests to order from the app versus using a third-party delivery service.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, a lot of what we talked about today was, the direct channels, the websites, apps, your owned and operated properties as a business, but do not overlook the importance of the marketplaces, right? I mean, these are a really strong and important growth channel. There is a cost to the net new acquisition that they can drive for you in terms of customers. But that's an important way that folks are going to find you, that they're going to discover you, right? They've created really engaging discovery experiences, whether it be by cuisine type or fastest delivery time, all these different cool things that help people find you, right? I think a lot of folks might be on a marketplace and for the first time say, wow, I didn't realize the C-store on the corner actually delivered. This is very cool. And so that's great. So leverage it. But there are some things to focus on, right? You also do want to drive them back through your direct channels, right? You want to ultimately be able to acquire this customer for yourself. And so doing that is about taking those direct ordering channels and making them easy to discover, right? Adding links to your website, to your local listings, Google My Business, Facebook, Apple, right? And really optimizing it for the search engines. Not just SEO in that big, broad term, but really local SEO, having folks know and they're talking about location, right? It's like location is so important in this because it's a huge facet of search, right? It's not just it's about relevance to what they're searching, and it's about the prominence of sort of the entity or the website, but it's also how does it relate to where that person is searching from. Then from there, creating a really frictionless curbside and in-store pickup flow for guests. If they know that ordering through their direct channel is going to rival or even be a better experience than ordering from the marketplace, they're going to keep coming back there. And then the other piece to sort of rival those experiences is help them get through checkout as quickly as possible. Right. I talked about this earlier. Marketplaces do a great job of having all of that stored information on file to make that a really streamlined experience. Look for partners and look for platforms that can help you achieve the same. That's always my recommendation, right? You want to rival the experience they get on those marketplaces, but certainly leverage them as this net new customer acquisition channel. I'll give just one quick one too, and this is specific to Quick Trip, right? And when they launched our dispatch product, you are paying a premium to have the marketplaces do delivery for you, right? So anything that you can do to take that back in-house, right? So Quick Trip launched our dispatch product that was integrating with our third-party delivery couriers, right, for their native online orders. Now, this allows them to offer convenient, branded delivery without the hassle of managing your own drivers or the contracts with multiple delivery service providers. And since then, Quick Trip's reported a 70% increase in digital sales, 39% increase in third-party delivery, and a 50% increase in order volume. So you can take these things back, try to give them the same experience that they expect there, but protect your margins.
Makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I mean, I use Uber Eats quite a bit, and it's very convenient. I think sort of an interesting question or interesting challenge is, well, what's going to get somebody to download your app and place an order and maybe come pick it up instead of doing a delivery through one of these services? And it's a high bar, but I think if you can do it and get the customer to order direct, get them to install your app, put it on their home screen. Ultimately, it's a bit of a hurdle to overcome, but I think the payoff if you can do that is enormous. And we've seen McDonald's and Chick-fil-A just roll out geofencing nationally. McDonald's announced they're ready on arrival feature. That's great. Like, they're highlighting geofencing. I think there's an opportunity to invest in these really seamless ordering experiences, these arrival detection experiences in the C-store space, kind of set yourself apart and make some noise. I think there's a lot of exciting possibilities there. And, I think at Radar, we think a lot about how we can help folks catch up and deliver amazing experiences and move quickly there. And I'm sure Sean and the Olo team think about that on their side as well. So with that, we're almost at time. I wanted to thank everybody again for attending today. We covered a lot of ground. Hopefully, you learned some useful applications and inspirations for thinking about how geofencing can help you drive C-store sales. Talked about a lot of other cool use cases and applications as well. And wanted to thank Nax for hosting us. Wanted to thank Sean and Olo for joining us. And hope you all enjoyed it. And feel free to reach out to us or to Olo if you have any questions or would like to continue the conversation. So thank you very much.